No, it's my mom. No, right? No. All right, here we go.
Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dan French. It's a French Workbench podcast here today on Tuesday. And hopefully everybody out there is starting to tune in. We want to appreciate everybody out there. Please hit the like button if you guys have not hit the like button already. Also, if you like what the content we're putting out, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell. We like that information. This channel is the most real and behind the scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs, educating through on-job experience here in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Dan French. We have a full cast here in studio today. We're going to talk today about what's solar, right? Is it worth it? We're going to talk to Brett over here about solar and find out all the facts. Should you add solar to your house here in Las Vegas? We're also going to talk with Nikki about the housing market and what's going on with the housing market through her eyes. This is a real estate agent that's a seasoned agent. She's got a lot of experience, a lot of information. But first, let's talk about average buyers out there today in the market, really sitting on the sidelines because they just can't afford to buy a home today. And, you know, you look at what people are looking at as far as rents, they're forced to go to rent, unfortunately. And if you look at year over year rents, we're up 14% from last year. If you look at a 2,500 square foot home or less, the average rents were $1,629 a month last year. And now if you fast forward to today, $1,888 a month, 14% increase. So, man, there's not a lot of opportunity out there, but there could be a light at the end of the tunnel. We're starting to see that inventory is starting to open up, and we're starting to see that maybe things are starting to get better for these first-time home buyers. But nationally, things are looking good. Is it happening here in Las Vegas? Because I'm looking at this information, and we're still seeing home prices are still increasing, and they're not dropping anywhere. So you see all this data and this information out there that home prices are not prices, but homes are opening up, inventories opening up across the nation. I can't say that that's going to be here for Las Vegas. So let's get right into it. I'm going to go around and introduce everybody here. And first off, I'm going to introduce Mr. Brett Lambert. He's from Suns. Is it Suns, right?
KO Energy.
KO Energy. Okay.
Yeah.
What's Suns?
Suns is our marketing platform.
Suns is your marketing platform. Okay, so KO Energy.
Yep. So
how long you been in solar? You're a solar rep, right? You're out there, you're talking to a lot of people about maybe in the idea of buying into solar, right? Or getting some facts on solar, and is it really beneficial to have solar put on your home? Is that right?
No, absolutely. I mean, everybody's going to pay an electricity bill regardless whether they like it or not. And if you can actually replace it with something that's actually going to increase the home value, as we'll discuss. But yeah, I'm a partner with KO Energy. We do everything in home.
Yeah.
Nothing subcontracted out.
Good, man.
So
we're going to get into the facts with you a little bit down the road here. I want to introduce Nikki Bonafetto. Is that right? Benefetto.
You butchered that.
Oh, I knew I would do it. Say it.
Bonafato.
Bonafato.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to butcher that. That's like one of those tongue twisters. Like you can tell me 10 times to say it, and I'll probably get 1 out of 10 right. So you're a real estate agent, right? You're with Simply Vegas. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And so how long have you been in the business? You've been doing this a long time. You're in the trenches. I think everybody wants to get a different perspective from a real estate standpoint. So how long have you been in the game as far as real estate?
A little over 7 years now.
Wow, 7 years.
Yeah.
So you've seen it all. I mean, were you were kind of at the tail end of the crash, right? Or tail end of all these things that happened. Is it kind of like in that time period?
Well, I came on after that, but my whole family's been in real estate for a while, and I know about the crash, definitely.
You definitely, everybody's felt that crash.
Yes.
Vegas was hit hard, so everybody felt that really hard. I'm going to go across the room here. I'm going to introduce my buddy here, Mr. Joe Dragon, he's back. What's up, buddy? How are you today?
What's going on, Dan?
Oh, not much, man. I know that there's a lot of news out there in Las Vegas. You know, one of the things that we heard coming in, Marc-Andre Fleury was traded. Is that right?
He was traded.
Are you upset, man? You seem like you're not upset at all?
Well, so there's a little conspiracy, I guess he found out through social media, which seems, because now he's a great guy. He's been great for the team.
Yeah.
Look, I like Fleury. I think he's a great goalie. I think he's, really did good for the community. But here's the thing. The guy's well compensated. Yeah. He's taken a lot of my ticket revenue and building his mansion over there. I think over there in Summerlin, and we're aggressive team with management. We don't, we're not messing around.
Right.
We're not going for feel good points. We're going for Stanley Cup wins. We haven't got it yet. We've come close. Keep the momentum up. Keep the pressure on. We're professionals. Make a dynasty. You know what I mean? And he can come watch. I'm sure they'll give him box tickets. That sounds better than getting pounded or.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
out there.
Are you guys did any of you guys ever been to a game at all, like a Knights game? Has anybody?
Yeah, I used to have season.
I think you're the only one.
No, I actually just went for the first time, like
you just
right
went
before they got knocked out. I've never been a hockey fan.
Yeah, you just went. You the first time.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this question. So first off, let's introduce. We also have Esmeralda Lucia, and she's here. And she's back and she's ready to go. And what's going on today, Esmeralda? How's life? I haven't seen you for a week and a half. What did you do? You went out to California?
No, I was in Florida.
You were in Florida?
Yeah.
What'd you do in Florida?
I just hung out with friends.
Just hung out with friends.
It was nice.
What part?
I went to Tampa.
You went to Tampa?
Yeah. So it wasn't, Miami, but it was nice.
Is Miami better?
Yeah, I love Miami.
You like Miami?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Miami's
it's more
nice.
my pace, but
that's your pace.
Yeah, but I'll take Tampa. Nice. It was nice kicking it with friends. So
yeah, absolutely. So let's go back into this, guys. So let's talk about the housing market here. We're seeing a drop in, or we're seeing an increase in inventory, but a drop in sales overall, a little bit across the nation. I'm going to start with Nikki because Nikki's a realtor, but I want your guys' opinion on all this because everybody needs to have an idea about what's going on in Las Vegas. So what are you seeing right now? You're seeing inventories opening up a little bit.
Just a little.
Just a little, right?
Yeah, not a lot.
Okay.
Homes are staying on the market a little bit longer.
Okay.
Than 1 or 2 days normally.
Okay.
But we're still getting people that are buying homes above appraised value, 30 and 40,000.
Yeah, but I mean, is it because we're not going to have the same impact? I mean, everybody's thinking, well, the market is going to open up with all this housing inventory that's starting to slightly increase across the nation, but not here. I feel that, you look at month over month, the last 4 months, right around 3,000 homes, right? That's what you're seeing.
Yep.
You go back 5-6 months, it was more around the 5,000 range, but it's gone down and then it's kind of just stayed there. And I see that other pockets, maybe other states are starting to see this open up, but Vegas, man, it's like it's its own place, right? It does its own thing, right? It doesn't follow the same suit as everything else, right?
We have so many people moving here, though. That's why.
That's it, right?
Yeah. Californians, Texans, everything.
How many buyers are you dealing with right now out of state?
Oh my gosh, they're all out of state.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Every single one of them.
You don't have anybody that's hey, I'm in Vegas and I want to buy a house. They're just either renting or they're buying. Is that it? I mean, not buying, but they're renting or they're just holding on to their house. They're not buying here locally.
No, they're buying here. You mean locals?
Locals.
No, they're holding on to their home.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you're renting here, you can't compete with a lot of these buyers, right? Out of state.
No, you don't have the money.
You don't have the money, right? So what are you dealing with on a daily basis with these clients? I know you go to new homes. Explain to us why. I know why, but I mean, explain to us why new homes are a little bit further out now where they're saying, you know what, it's going to be 2 or 3 months down the road before you actually can get into a house. Maybe you're on a reservation list, the lottery. What's happening with that right now with your experience?
They have nothing to sell. They've sold everything so far, so they're behind is what they.
Yeah.
Like,
What I was hearing was the fact that they're doing this on purpose. They're trying to delay the process of getting these homes built because the costs of these homes and the labor is a lot. And guess what they're going to do? As they hold it, they're going to pass that to the consumer. And so they're really coming in saying they could probably buy, like really build that home, but they're really trying to push it down the road because then it kind of levels off some of those costs that they're paying right now, which is probably more than the average or obviously what they are accustomed to paying. So are you seeing that a lot of these people don't have options for this?
They don't. And I'll just give you an example. So I personally, we bought a home.
You bought a home? When did you buy a home?
In February.
Oh.
So I closed March.
Who was your lender? I'm just playing.
Wow.
So we bought a brand new build.
Okay, you're off the hook. Go ahead, Nikki.
Base price $469. Base
Right.
price today
Uh-huh.
$590.
Okay.
that's
So
just-
you got
No
you
way.
got appreciation. Yeah.
Yes.
In 3 months?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the square foot?
It's only 1,800 square feet.
Where is it?
Woodside in Summerlin.
Oh, okay, that's
Okay,
why.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do some real estate attorney work, but that's not really handling the market, right? And I bought a house early 19. Okay, so whatever. I got this habit of checking Zillow mostly to kill time. I know all real estate agents hate Zillow,
Zillow.
but they do give you the
It's a starting point, is what people look at.
well,
it.
I
It's
just
not-
kill time. I'm
Right.
like, am I making money? Even though
Right.
I'm not, check out Zillow. Anyhow, they give you the comps though, right? And I'm looking at these comps, and I can't make sense of them because you'll see. I mean, these are kind of cookie cutter homes, mostly most are in Las Vegas, and you'll see this range, like of $100,000 between very similar properties. Do you
Yeah.
have any explanation for that? Because I can't figure it out.
Well, it's because you have everybody coming in here buying over appraised value. They're buying it for cash. When they close, they're seeing that market.
Right. So
there's
why are some selling lower then? They just not know what's
Just
going
de-
on.
Just depends on, I guess, maybe how they're, decorated on the inside, if they're upgraded or not. I'll give you, I just took a listing, 950, 960 area sold. We put ours up for 1.1.
Uh-huh.
I had multiple offers. We got 1.17
Jeez.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
based on the interior.
based on the interior.
So what's you suggesting to listeners as far as if they're looking to sell? I mean, do you advise maybe like investing in some remodeling, some things, and what type of things? If that
It depends on what you're going to remodel. If it's going to go fast, remodels take a long time, and everybody's
Right.
backed up now because everybody's remodeling.
right, so
I
they're
mean-
trying to take advantage of that.
Like some quick paint, maybe, or just make it look,
Is sellers willing to do that though with this market? Like, I feel that some of these sellers out there just don't want to do anything to the properties whatsoever.
don't.
No, and you get an offer, and it's like, oh, you know what? You want me to do this? It could be, hey, I need you to change the flooring in this, right? Or I need to, and it might even be like something like, oh, it's a guideline. Oh, take it to somebody else. Get a cash buyer. Like they just don't want to do anything. The effort
Yeah.
that's out there right now. Sellers think they're sitting on a gold mine. There's people that I know that are literally have a home. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to just basically put the house on the market, and I'm going to ask for whatever I want. Say, instead of me saying,
Yeah.
what can you list it for? What are you willing to give me?
it's crazy.
That's what it is.
nuts.
What are you willing to give me for my house today? And that's crazy being here in Las Vegas, because that's not good, I don't think, for our market, because you're going to see our market really start to increase if everybody takes that attitude. I mean, it still has to appraise. So we can't just say, well, if whatever you think is going to get, you're going to get, right? You can't just say, well, I'm going to get 500 for this house I spent 400 6 months ago. That's not going to happen. But if you find the right buyer, cash buyer, somebody put a house on the market, it's 475. They list it. Somebody comes in with cash 490. Boom, that's gone. So you're seeing that a lot, right?
A ton. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
What?
nuts.
Got a big backyard?
No, yeah, for Summerlin I do actually.
You do, okay.
Yeah,
So I think that's a huge thing because that's hard to find.
it is.
Summerlin's desirable, isn't it? Like, what is the square footage out there for Summerlin right now if you wanted to pay for a premium for a house?
Square foot on the lot or just the
Just
size home?
what's the average square foot? We'll say just
2,000.
about 2,000.
Yeah.
And what are you paying per square foot for a home out there for 2,000 square feet?
Depending on if it's a single story or two
Yeah.
story.
Okay, single story is a premium.
Yes.
Okay,
You're
so
gonna pay like three something probably.
so somebody would probably come in and say, you know what, listing price is 450, but I'll better give you 470 because it has a single story, and people are willing to go that far above it, 20, 30, 40. That's where you really start to see that drive up. Is that right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't be wasting effort going upstairs every day.
I mean, literally, I could sell my house
Well,
for
look,
$750 right now.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
see
insane.
how you're
crazy.
thinking right now about that same situation. That's
Yeah.
what a lot of people are thinking too. It's like, well, I can sell my house right now for a premium, and I'm like Joey, right, guy on the team,
Yeah.
bought his house. If he wanted to flip that house, he would make money like that.
Yep.
I got people that are sitting. There's people that bought a home last year, sat on it a year and a half, and they bought it for 405, and they got an offer for 490. You know what I mean? And I think that's just crazy because you look at these offers, and it was a cash buyer. So they're not really worried about it, but there's people that are coming in, investors coming in, willing to spend whatever the cost is. So you look at Las Vegas, and I'm telling you, it's just a different breed. It's just a different animal altogether as far as how these houses, how the numbers come out, and how everybody's putting out like, hey, you know what? Inventory is starting to open up for everybody, and things are starting to slow down, and the frenzy's not there. And well, good luck. Las Vegas is just totally different. And so when you go to a new home builder, do people come to you or clients that you're working with and say, what are you going to throw in? Like, what are the incentives? Because I think a lot of people come into it like it's a new home, like it's a car, like you're buying a car. And it's like, well, it still has to appraise. And they're not going to just throw everything in. They might throw in like some things, but they're not going to like take value from the home or value from the full purchase price. So what are some of the things that builders are willing to provide as incentive right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No. Maybe some closing cost. That's about it.
That's about it, huh?
Nothing else.
Yeah,
Wow.
makes sense.
Hey, so I got a question. So when you're selling a home to somebody that's, or when somebody's actually selling their home in Las Vegas and say they're not actually relocating and they just want to, are they typically just trying to get the equity from it when they're actually selling, or where do they actually relocate? Because if the housing prices are so high, where do they go? Are they just renting now? The majority of the time?
Well, a couple of my sellers moved out of town, so that's a different story.
Absolutely. But the ones that are actually staying in Las Vegas, are they typically renting?
Well, they can afford to buy another house. Those, but no, typically, yes, they would rent.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think everybody today too, like it's weird. Just everybody seems like they just have money. They're sitting on money.
It's true.
It's crazy. And it's like, where did all this money come from? How does everybody have money? Like,
Big brother, sir.
It's
Big
not-
brother ain't paying attention.
They've been printing a lot.
no, I'm telling you, man.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, everybody's just got something to invest. And it's like, you go back 10, 15 years, you didn't have buyers like this in the market. It wasn't like they were sitting on, and maybe it's because they are selling their house, but man, everybody's got money. Like,
Which honestly, I mean, this hype, but you start getting worried about the inflation problem because
Yes.
a lot of people have money. Money's supposed to represent value and the fact that you need somebody to do something. And I think last time I was on the show, I checked it was at 5.2% for the last 12 months average. That's the highest it's been in the last 20 years. And they've been downplaying it, but I'm like, you keep printing. I mean, the Fed knows what they're doing. You would think they usually don't make that type of mistake with this much history, but it is starting to, if it's this easy to get money, it's not just you, it's not just me, it's
well,
everybody in
I
that
also
boat.
think two people have been sitting on money because of what happened with COVID. They've been sitting on a nest egg, right, a little bit, where they're saving, they're not paying all their bills, maybe, or they're getting compensated or partial payments. Also, too, they seen the crash last time, right? And I think when you look at the crash and what happened, I don't feel people are spending like they used to, where it's on paycheck to paycheck. Even though there's a lot of data out there that supports that people are still spending a lot of money. I'm not saying that, but I think there's a little bit more reserve in where you're spending your money and how you're spending it and how much of it are you spending of. You know what I mean? Maybe because I think, go ahead.
Well, Esmeralda, I think you made a point last time I was on with you that when you do transactions, people don't seem to have anything in savings. Is that right? Or has that changed in the last 6 months?
Repeat that again. I'm sorry, I didn't.
That people just typically don't have a lot of
How much
savings. They
are
don't
you
have-
dr-
Oh yes.
I can't say anything
so-
over it there.
Hold up.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Let's go.
No,
Call
what
me
I
out.
said was that statistically proven that yes, people, and I don't want to say everywhere in the United States, but typically here in Las Vegas, proven facts that yes, people do not have a very large savings because they do live.
But do you think people are changing that? I guess it's like, for me, it's like this. You've seen your family go through crisis, right? You've seen people that lost their home, or maybe they were put in a position they didn't want to be. They lost their job. You got people are saying, you know what? I got to protect me, and I got to start making better decisions. I got to have self-leadership, right? I got to be able to support my family. I got to be able to invest. It's not just about buying Sea-Doos. Man, back in my heyday, when I seen all that Sea-Doos, everybody had a Sea-Doo, right? Everybody had a boat. Everybody had something they were going to go buy and invest money into that probably...
That's not investing. But
Yeah, well,
That's play.
yeah, exactly. Playing money, putting money into things that maybe aren't going to give you a return. But it was like everybody felt like that faucet of money wasn't going to stop. And then once it did, everybody suffered. And I think maybe in today's world, people have money, and we're seeing it. And I think a lot of people are coming out of state, so they do have money coming out of state. They're selling their house, but man, everybody, like, it just seemed like everybody that comes here, it's just
I mean, I'll push back on that because a year or two ago, watching CNN or something, they were saying the average person cannot come up with $500 if there was some sort of disaster, right? They didn't have that cash to pay. And so I don't know if that's going to flip in a year. You know what I mean? The mentality. But I mean, it could.
Is. I mean,
it is?
If you look at the statistic, over 70% of Americans literally don't have $1,000 in their bank account.
Well, now they do. Stimulus money. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think people save that.
But how long does that
unfortunately.
last?
No, it won't.
Right. I mean, no, that's a good point. But I think when you look at the home buyers, maybe it's a different world. Like, we don't see that world. Maybe I'm in a different, element of people got money. People
Right.
probably invest. Maybe it's people that have established themselves. Maybe I'm just seeing a different world. But I don't know. It just seems, even when it was financing, there's not many people that, I mean, there's still people that have some credit issues and maybe they need some support. But it's rare that I have somebody that says, hey, you know what? I need support. Like, for instance, we don't have paying closing costs anymore. Sellers.
No.
So they're coming into it paying all the costs. And if you go for a new home build and you don't use their lender, which there's no incentives really anymore anyways, they're paying all those costs as well. They're paying everything, the transfers tax, everything that's involved. And so I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot more money to, maybe because they are printing money. Maybe we're going to go into hyperinflation. I don't know.
I
to
think
deflation.
for me,
Who knows?
I think for me, I was good with saving money. I've always been good with money, but I think with that 9/11 and when the market tanked and I lost everything because I was using my money that I had saved for years to sustain all my investments. So I learned my lesson. And I was like, okay, because the market didn't come back right away. It took a long
it took like
time.
7 years.
You're talking a short sell, it would take a year for it to close. Like if you had like 15 short sales in a month, you were like the top producer.
Right.
It was like crazy. And it wasn't going to close until the following year. So for me, I learned like in those times that even though you have money saved for like 6 months to a year, it's still not enough. For me, that was my lesson.
You know what? I agree. I think it is that where it's like, is it not enough? But I think it's also a characteristic thing where it's like you have to change that part of yourself, right? It's more about like, well, if you're in a situation where things are having, you have a lot of problems with people that are, just saving money and not looking at the big picture. I think a lot of people are kind of changing their thought process for that. And that's kind of what I'm looking at is,
You just don't know.
It's true.
Yeah.
You don't know. And even if it's like a small monthly thing where you're putting money aside or you're, whatever it is, that's what I'm starting to see. I'm starting to see a lot of people. I don't know. You see it too, right, Nikki? You see a lot of people out there that have assets, no issues on coming above price. I mean, it's crazy because I don't think you think there's people out there that have that type of assets to put down, but they do. And they're willing to put down whatever it takes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. I just moved from California about a year and a half ago, and if you would have even bought a house in like 2011 in Orange County, right, call it 2,000, 3,000 square feet, depending on location, they're literally millionaires. Yeah. And that's when they're fleeing from California here to Nevada. So
yeah, I mean, it's that and taxes.
Well, I was saying,
of course,
you bring up a good point.
Yeah,
because if you would buy in 2011, right? Fact is, none of us did because none of us had money. If you're looking from an investment standpoint, you always want to, when you're getting hot like this, save as much as you can, and when it drops, buy as much as you can. Problem is, the mentality is totally different because when you're making money, your friends are like, let's go out, let's go on vacation. Right. There's so much push to go, I'm good or whatever. But if you can do the reverse psychology, because it will crash. It always does.
No, the market will crash. And I don't know if it's going to be a full-on crash. It might be a correction.
I think it will be a correction.
It'd be a correction more than it's just going to crash because it's going to take something catastrophic for just a whole economic crash to happen again.
Well, it's really only happened twice in modern times.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And I think everybody's looking for that, let's let the market crash because then everything's on sale. I can get houses discounted. It's like going to the store and you're getting pennies on the dollar for a house. Like, who's not going to want to do that? But I don't think it's, unless we don't see something out there, this Las Vegas market is going to continue to increase. Now, these numbers that come out, everybody's pushing that finally things are opening up. I don't see anything happening here at all. I don't see any difference. And you look at a month-to-month basis, right? We're at, I believe, $411,000 for a single family residence home right now here in Las Vegas. Last year, $337,000.
Crazy.
Right? Isn't that amazing, right? In a short window, and every month it's $10,000 to $13,000 increase in appreciation for every single month for this home. And we're talking, I'm looking at this data, and I'm not even talking about like homes that are $1 million homes. I'm talking about 3,000 square foot homes and less. It would be crazy amount of money, that difference month to month, if it was above
But
that.
interest rates went down, right? They're like at
Yeah, they went down again. Or at least that's
Well,
what I heard.
no,
Then
well,
house prices go up as soon
yeah,
as interest
I mean,
rates go down.
yeah. Look, at the end of the day, rates are always going to go up and down. Fed is manipulating this. It's the Fed's fund rate. It's the consumer There's a lot of things that come into play with this, but they are manipulating the rates. Are the rates going to get back to last year at 2.5%? Probably not. They're not going to. It's not going to happen. I can't see that happening again.
Unless inflation really does become a problem.
Well,
They'll hike that up immediately if they're like.
Well, and
we're
that's
having-
exactly right.
But
You're
that's-
100% correct. On inflation, they raise rates to tame inflation. So that's something that they use as a barometer. But if you're looking at the whole picture of where we're at today and how fast these homes are going up, I just don't know what's going to stop it. And I really don't see anything. It's unfortunate. I mean, you look at these first-time home buyers, and I don't really have an answer for them.
It's sad
It's sad.
because our own people that live here cannot purchase.
Yeah, well,
you know what
so
I
happened
heard?
in L.A. Let me ask you a question. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you?
Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question really quick. You say, Brett, you came here 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm from here though originally.
Okay, so how long were you in California?
4 years.
And why'd you come back?
My son, I have a 2-year-old, and my son was born, and I didn't have any family
Oh,
out
okay,
there.
okay.
So I was strictly there for business.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you didn't own a house over there or anything like that. You're
No.
not the typical.
I moved many times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but you know what prices are over there.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think we talk about
An
this before.
FHA loan, I mean, in Orange County, you're gonna get it for,
7.
it's like 800.
That's
Yeah.
how much a house. So if you
FHA, and over here, what it's like 380.
go FHA in California is how much?
Yes.
800 depending on the county.
Wow.
If you go to Inland Empire and you're looking more like Riverside and San Bernardino County, I think it's like 400 something.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So
mid-fours.
that's the point, because the entire Southern California, I think it's like 26 million or something ridiculous. We're just over 2 million here, right?
Yeah.
So if you've been sitting on a house for 10 years, I mean, you could high end sell that for 5, low end 1,
Yeah.
right? And you can come here and buy a mansion, give up the beach, but you also give up traffic.
Yep.
What's stopping them? And that's what's going to mess up the
Tax.
locals continually, because there's a engine over there that unless this thing crashes, it's not going away.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
let's go to a different topic here, because I wanted to talk about solar. And actually, we brought Brett Lambert on today. And Brett's a guy that I actually reached out to because he's got a lot of good information. And he's kind of getting... You have a lot of connects, right? You were in California recently.
Yep.
And you're pitching solar and how it the benefits. I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of people that says, is it really worth it or not? Because some people are on the fence. And I know you look at the average energy bill, right? If it's $200 a month, you pay that for 10 years, that's $28,000. Can you really say, like, over a time period that you're really going to save that much money difference versus solar? And really what's involved? So let's kind of go into the solar process. I think a lot of people don't really understand what solar is about, how you get it financed, or really what's involved.
Yeah, I don't. So talk
Do
to me like
do
a
you have
child.
Any, do you have any questions though on it though?
Well, I mean, I know what it does.
Do you own your home here?
I own my home.
Okay.
He's gonna sell you.
How
on
long
it.
have you owned it?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
How many square feet, if you don't mind me asking?
2,400.
Okay. Do you have a pool?
No.
Got it. How was the roof?
When was it built?
Yeah.
I think 16, 15, something like that.
Perfect. So how much was your last bill with MB Energy?
210.
210.
It's like
Right.
60, 50 in the winter.
Yep, exactly. Because your energy cost is going to quadruple in this market during June, July, August, September, and it will start to mellow out in October, for example. But my point is, let's just say you pay 120 or 150 on average, right?
Okay.
You times that by 12, I don't know, it's like 1,800, something like that.
Right.
My point is, what return did you get on that? Would you rather rent your power or own your power? Because if you...
Okay, right. But how much is, so you come and install it, right?
Yeah.
How much does that cost?
Nothing out of your pocket. I mean, there's numerous amount of options.
So how are you getting the financing to put that in?
I have multiple financiers, so I can get people even 0.99% APRs, which you look at.
So let's talk about this. So obviously people don't understand the whole process of how it works.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the benefits. There's 2 million people right now that have solar or been set up for solar across the country. There's a lot of people right now that really don't know what's involved. They also don't know what's the return on their investment. They also don't know what the cost is. Like, what is the cost to get started? Is it, 20, 25, 30, 35,000? Is it financed? Do you have to pay for it up front? Like all these things what's involved through that process?
It's a great question. So there's a few different ways to actually go solar. So one's going to be a PPA, which stands for a power purchase agreement. All you're doing is agreeing to purchase your power at a cheaper, cleaner kilowatt hour rate. The other way is you could finance it.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Sorry.
So, for example, if you looked at your bill and you reverse engineered everything on your charges, you're paying probably about 15 cents per kilowatt hour.
Okay.
There's going to be companies that can actually come in, install the panels at no upfront cost, no installation fee, nothing out of your pocket, take care of your permit fees, HOA, architectural application fees, and you're just paying, call it 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So that's 33% savings without you doing anything, without it putting a lien on the property. Because it's not a lease. It's different from a lease. Because, for example, say when you lease a car, that affects your debt to income ratio, right? Okay. And that does actually put a lien on your property. So I don't sell leases. I don't believe in them. But a power purchase agreement is going to have similarities, but it's also going to have differences. So you get maintenance, repairs, insurance, monitoring, everything included for the next 25 years. Because the power bill is for life. That's what people don't understand.
Yeah, so what he's saying what I'm getting from this is that your energy bill is going to consistently go up, but this bill that you're going to get for solar is going to be a set amount, and it's set every single month. So that's where the savings is at. Now, what if people don't stay in their house for 30 years?
Yeah. So, for example, say...
Yeah, that was the question.
Say I actually did get you hooked up after this podcast, right? For example. Say you sell your house in 5 years from now.
Okay.
A new homeowner comes in, just like when you bought it 2.5 years ago. Who'd you have to call? You had to call the water company, sewer, trash, gas, electricity, everything to transfer the public utilities into your name is 100% transferable. They're already qualified for the house. They don't essentially have to qualify for the solar. It's just a transfer of bill. It really, if you logically think about it, it just doesn't happen where it's like, hey, Joe, I love your house. Please take these panels down, man, because I'd rather pay a 33% higher electricity bill.
Right.
It just...
No, I understand that part, right? So you're saying, all right, there's two charges though, right? You've got because you're still hooked up to NV Energy, correct?
So with that's a good question. All you do is pay a connection fee, which is $12.
Well, here's my question. Why is NV Energy even involved?
Because Warren Buffett owns them.
Yeah, but so he's coming in saying that if you want to hook up solar here, you got to run through us. I thought solar was so you can be independent of the energy bill or the energy company itself.
No, it makes sense. Have you guys heard of net metering by chance?
No.
I have.
You have? Okay. Simplify it. When AT&T had their rollover minutes, it's the best analogy, right? Before all the phone plans went unlimited. So hypothetically speaking,
that was like 4 years ago.
I think it was like 14. Time just
I've had way
flies.
too many grape juice since then to be able to remember that.
How's that grape juice over there, buddy?
No, exactly.
Fantastic.
But say you produce 40 kilowatt hours and you only use 20 kilowatt hours. Easy math, we got 20 left over. That excess electricity goes back through the grid and you're connected to their grid because you have to be able to sell your electricity. So they'll actually give you a credit back on your utility bill. And the way that we're going to tailor your solar system is for you to utilize those credits when your energy usage quadruples throughout the year in the summertime.
Okay, so bottom line.
Yeah.
Simple terms. I pay $200 for July, something like that.
Yeah.
Right? Next July, if I went solar, what would be my power bill? Estimate.
33% less, so call it about $130.
Okay, and then how am I paying for the actual panels over those 20 years or whatever?
So it all depends. Like the power purchase agreement, you don't own the panels. It's liability free. If you financed it, for example, there's different terms. You could do a 7-year, 5-year, 12-year,
So you guys own the
20-year.
panels?
On the power purchase agreement, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm not paying any loan, anything out of pocket for the panels. I'm just getting a reduction in.
You're just paying a cheaper power bill, man.
Okay.
Can I
Nikki,
explain it how I think?
What's that?
Go
Can
ahead.
I explain what okay, so on the solar, so this is the way that I see it, just on a clear version and how I look at it, and this might help you. So what happens is, think of it like this. Instead of you paying the power bill every month for the rest of your life, but you don't have any benefits, if you decide to go with solar, you actually end up having control and you own the panels and everything. You're only paying $12, but not only that, you also get a write-off that you get on top of that
On
for having
taxes?
right on your taxes.
But you're saying with the PP one that I don't own it.
That's yeah, but she's got it right. When you
Let me-
own it,
Let me finish
Yeah,
because
go.
I did my homework on this. I do a lot of
I
research,
love it.
people. I'm like a little nerd.
hey,
right?
you got my back.
I do.
Bring
So
it.
the purpose of having solar is, think of it like this. Would you rather invest and give, let's say, $12? Would it make more sense to you give $12 to Nevada Power and never get nothing for your return? Or would it make sense to give solar the $12 and you eventually, after 5, 10, 15 years, you own the panels, but you're not paying another company that has nothing, that's not giving you anything back in return.
So eventually you eliminate your bills. What you're saying.
Exactly. You'll eliminate that, and you're never going to get a raise. Like,
Yeah, but
Nevada,
what
don't
if
have
you
control
finance it? What if you're somebody out there that can't afford to spend $25,000-$30,000 and you have to finance it? So when does that? I mean, because then you got to take an equation of, okay, well now I'm paying an extra bill, and now is that canceling out the savings that I'm getting? Because and then what if I don't stay in the house for 30 years? You know what I mean? There's got to
Yeah.
be you got to look
But
at
your
it from like a
write-off-
long-term perspective.
But think about it like this. So the write-off that you get at the end of the year for the panel is such a large amount that you should just use that just to pay off your freaking solar. It's like a no-brainer.
No brainer. Okay.
Hey, we're hiring.
I don't know. I just,
So-
She's sold.
no, because I did my homework and research on that because I wanted to do something like that for my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, why would I do that? Like, I don't get it. So I was doing my research, and I do believe like in saving the planet and things like that. But I also look at things that make sense. So to me, why would I give you money, your company, that you're not doing anything for me in return? I would rather invest and know that I'm going to own something and it's mine and I can keep it eventually.
Well, I think, but you got to look at it.
Amen.
Let me say this, and I'm not trying to be devil's advocate here, but I'm just saying you got to look at it from a perspective though of, first off, if it was that much savings, is it non-education of why people aren't doing it, or is it because they don't see the value in it? And also, if they saw the value in it, they might not be want to have it be stuck in a home or have solar be put into something like that.
Yeah.
For if they're going to be in the house for 5 years. Like
Right.
if I'm in the house for 3 years and I know like I'm going to sell or I'm flipping, why am I going to get solar?
Right.
Well-
Then the next person, like if you're, hey, it's my end all, then yeah. But that's
Well, and you bring up the point because with my house, I don't really plan on being there after 4 years. Just got one a bigger yard and all this stuff. So, Nikki, let me ask you a question. Somebody who's buying and it has solar on there already, how does that affect the purchase? Does it affect it all? I know today it might not because things are so hot, but in general, let's just say more
Well,
even
if
times.
they're going to assume the loan, if it does have a loan on it, they have to qualify for it too. So, they definitely
So what happens
have
if they don't?
then it's a dead deal.
Then it's a dead deal.
Yeah, I
Either
mean,
that
Then
or-
I eat those costs.
Either that or you pay it off at closing.
yeah.
Okay, but you're saying if I do it with the PP way, that doesn't come into play.
Correct. Yeah. So I mean, say you were even gonna live in the house for the next 3 years, and say you own the panels, right? There's a huge 26% federal tax credit available right now. That's the biggest tax credit in the history of America. Like you can go get an electrical vehicle, a Tesla, or when they had their rebate.
Well, here's the thing I got to ask is
yeah.
what politician is supporting that? I'm just playing.
I stay out of
I'm
politics.
just playing.
I gotta go. I'm just kidding.
I'm just playing.
So I
Let's call 'em.
mean, a lot of people do it for tax. Like,
Just
for
like-
example, I just signed up this guy
I just
2
think
weeks
tax
ago.
reasons it makes sense. Like,
No, I mean, look, it makes sense. I think it's a case by case, but you have to look at it from a perspective. I agree. Like, there's value there, right? But if you're somebody that's going to buy a house, and let's say you're like, you know what? Am I going to put all these upgrades? This isn't my final home, right? This is just a starter home. It's my, it's not my dream home. It's not my end all home. Why am I going to put a bunch of money into something that I really don't care about as a long-term position? To me, that's when I would probably think about solar. If I was on a set income and I'm retired and I'm like, I need to save every little nickel I can, sure.
Yeah.
Maybe you go that route, you know? But for me, it's just kind of one of those things where long term, yes. Short term, I don't know. I mean,
if somebody, so whenever I sit down with a homeowner, I ask them one question, because this is how I'm going to steer them in the right direction. How long do you plan on living here?
yeah.
That's going to determine which program that I get them enrolled with. Simple as that.
I'll say 4. You're talking to me right now.
Yeah,
4.
you need to do a power purchase agreement. But do you actually plan on selling the house, or do you plan on renting it?
We'll see what's going on in 4 years.
Okay,
Right.
exactly. So I got two different options for you. You can either own it or do this. I mean, the list goes on, and preference is always going to be different towards every type of consumer. But if, say you were going to actually rent your home, somebody's going to pay down your mortgage, right? Your mortgage principal,
Right.
right? Now somebody's paying down your principal on your solar with the bill that they were already going to spend to NV Energy. So it's
Okay,
like
'cause they're paying me
now,
directly.
yeah, now you're building equity within your home, because when there is no principal balance on that,
I got
it
you.
will raise the home value.
But it's contingent. I mean, everything's contingent on the market staying stable. So you
And
can't control that.
Everyone's different. There's so
Right.
many variables.
Well, then let me ask you this question. What do you know about solar technology? All right, if I get solar, how much do I need to draw from NV Energy? Percentage a month,
I'd have to. Oh,
on average.
the goal is to eliminate your
So
electricity
100% solar.
bill. That's the goal.
Okay.
It depends on roof space. Depends on Southwest hemisphere.
What happens if you? I mean, if you just there's situations where they just you say it's 100%, but they can't. Maybe a given month just go over.
Well, it depends, because I don't mean to sound ambiguous as well, but so many, say you turn your AC, I looked at your utility bill, and then you start turning your AC at 60 degrees and you start growing marijuana. Of
Right.
course you're going to get a bill from MV Energy.
Right. So you're tied into
Right?
NV Energy, right?
Yeah.
I guess my question is this: what's the? Do you know anything about the future? Is solar panels going to excel, or are they kind of stuck in their productivity?
Since I've been in it, I got into this industry end of 2014, call it. They were 230 watts. Now you can get 420 watts.
Okay.
So, I mean, they
So it's
literally
excelling.
doubled. Yeah, absolutely.
So is it going to double again? Because I'm thinking, what do
I
I
would
wait
not
and
doubt
get
it.
better panels at that point, or
Yeah.
where are we in this game?
like new technology, right?
Right. Eventually, where you never dip into the grid.
No,
Right.
Absolutely.
Like no matter what.
You can put power walls on your house that back up all your loads right now, so you're completely off the grid. And then it doesn't matter if the panels increase, because a kilowatt hour is a kilowatt hour. As long as you got the roof space, it doesn't matter. And here in Las
Where I've
Vegas,
got
the
a roof
roofs are
deck.
huge. You got a what?
I got a roof deck. Like
I
a
don't
little
know if it's
barbecue.
structurally sound, my friend.
So I had, let me say this. So one of my family members bought a house with the solar panels.
Yeah.
And we were like, why are you buying a house with a solar panel?
Yeah. Why you're buying a house with a
Right.
solar panel?
Yeah, so they had moved from California, from northern
Yeah.
California.
Californians love solar.
So they're
do.
like, we're
They
gonna
do.
just buy it because it was in Southern Highlands. So
Okay.
I remember it was in Southern Highlands, and it was a cute house. And so they ended up buying the house, and their monthly bill was $12. And so they lived there for 9 years. So I did my math. This is where my little nerdy thing came in. So I did my math. I did my 7 years where I live, and I did their little $12, and I did not like what I saw.
20,000,
I was mad. I was like, really?
Yeah.
I just threw away this amount of money?
15 to
And,
20,000.
Is there ever any situation, because she brings up a point where somebody was unhappy with the solar process, like meaning I understand you're selling it,
Yeah.
but I mean, is somebody like maybe they didn't understand like what was going on with it, like, oh, I thought I was signing up for something different. You have any stories like people are like upset or?
I mean, my personal style is just setting the right expectations with people and just being extremely straightforward and blunt, because it's pretty black and
Yeah,
white, right?
yeah.
If somebody has a question, I'd rather over-inform than under-inform. So not really. It's just all about how you set the expectations.
Well, everybody that's naive to something, like I'm naive to it, right? They don't understand. It's the unknown, right? So what are your challenges you're trying to overcome with some of these people that they're talking to you about, like that you see consistently come through?
Just educate them. I mean, simple as that. I don't look at myself as like a salesman.
No, but like what things are they questioning? Like, okay, well,
What if I move?
okay.
What if I go over my solar production? What if new technology comes out?
Right.
Um,
And how do you counter that? Like, what is your I mean, like you can educate them, but what are you like? Well, if the technology comes out, it's going to be seamless. It's going to transfer from one situation to another.
yeah, I mean, I just listen to their question, answer appropriately.
Can you move
I don't
your
like to make it
panels?
overcomplicated.
Yeah.
Because it's very self-explanatory. Like when I keep solar simple, if you can eliminate a bill that you're already going to spend, whether you like it or not, you're going to spend it.
Yeah.
And I could replace it with a cheaper, cleaner one. You could not have to come out of pocket, and you could take advantage of the largest tax credit in America right now.
Right.
And then once that's paid off, it will raise your home value since it's an asset versus a liability.
When does
It's
it
a
raise your
no-brainer.
value though? Is it when
When
the
the
house is paid off?
It's because there's probably going to be people that appraise homes, and you guys are all in the
Yeah.
industry, but it's essentially when it's actually paid off. If you owe a principal balance, to be transparent with everybody, then it won't raise the home value immediately.
So it has to be paid off.
Yes, it does.
Because then at that point it's attached to the property.
Correct.
It's an appurtenance now, basically, that is attached. It goes with the property. So now it's something that's a part of the home itself. Now you can sell it for that premium. But what if there's a lease on it? Then you have to actually get somebody to qualify for that loan as well. And that's going to be challenging, right?
Also takes 4 weeks.
Well,
4 weeks.
that's why I don't sell leases though. A power purchase agreement, there's no lien, so it doesn't show up as a line item on the home.
How about let's do an experiment if you're down?
Yeah.
You coming back on the show? You gonna have me back on the show?
Of course. Everybody's welcome.
Why don't you? I mean, Dan, I
Yeah.
can give you my email address. Why don't you send me a proposal? This is what I'm after.
Send you a text.
All right. This is what I'm after. I plan to be out of the house in 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
Well, I don't really need bigger. I just want a better backyard. Okay.
Sounds
so I'm
good.
looking to save money on power.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to mess with my equity when I go to sell.
Perfect.
Can you give me a proposal? Walk me through the process.
Absolutely.
We'll come
I would
back on
love
the
to.
show. We'll talk about how the process was. If I'm happy, if I'm not. If I'm not happy, you owe me a beer or maybe some grape juice.
Dude, if you're not happy, I'll give you a case.
Hey, so I
send
got
it over.
something. I have something to say. So I'm sure you all get this. You all get these calls, random calls, right? Hi, we're
From the IRS?
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
I get those too all the time, but no, solar.
I get the student loan, and you have an.
I get
I get the
everything.
extended car warranty.
Car warranty.
Oh my God. And I have to answer my damn phones.
Health insurance.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All
Those.
of it.
But you get a lot of people from solar calling, and you know
Yeah.
what? And I'm not saying that it's valid
For sure.
But why are there so many companies jumping on board and making the effort to push these calls out? And I think that's more, it's almost like a personal choice. Like, I get it, but I think in this position, like, you almost have to say, well, I gotta, you can talk to somebody, but you gotta see the value in it. So I guess is all these companies jumping on because it's starting to become a big wave of things to come where they're really starting to push everybody to be doing solar now. It's like, I get probably 4 or 5 calls a week, random calls that are just coming from salespeople. And I'm just like,
Well, the government wants it.
So-
And Energy wants it, right? They were shutting down power last month because it was too hot and they didn't have the grid to deal with it. So I think they just want to unload it, right? So there's a big push.
is that what you think it is over there? Like, as far as you think it's because the government's involved with this, so they're really pushing it to. Because look, if there's like I said, if there's a savings, I see it. Esmeralda, you brought up a good point. Very good point.
You could save the earth too.
You could save the earth, right? And you know what? That might be something we do. But I think people also too, when they're rubbing.
That's, and you do not care about the earth.
Hate.
I don't
And
care.
people think climate change is fake.
The
And
next
whatnot.
60 years, as long as I get through that, whatever.
I hear you.
Well, I just think it's like this. So the savings is there, but is it a big enough savings for somebody to really transition into something like that? Because you said 30%. It's a good savings, and it's going to be for a while. But
Just on average.
we all know what Americans do, right? Once you have extra money, it goes somewhere else.
Spend it.
You spend it. So unless you're just truly a stickler on, I'm really gonna look at my position. You really
Which
got
you should be.
You should be,
You
but
want to get rich. That's how you do it,
Well,
right?
let me ask 2 things. Who's your phone provider?
mine is AT&T.
Okay. If
Yeah.
AT&T just called you and said, "Hey, we're going to give you the same exact service, but cut your bill in half," would you do it?
Absolutely.
That's my point. And then the second thing is, do you pay taxes?
Sold.
Do
Sign
I
him
pay
up.
taxes? Sometimes.
Teach me some loopholes, please.
Just saying.
But you pay taxes.
Yeah.
So some people, if they're W-9, like probably a majority of people in this
But you
room.
have to understand that a phone is at this point a necessity, right? A cell phone. Is solar a necessity?
Is power
Not
a
yet.
necessity?
It is, but it's not a necessity where you
Solar
have to go.
power.
But you don't have to go and buy it where you have another option to buy it. Where
A phone
Is it-
still
it's
isn't
easier,
a
right?
necessity, though.
it is.
Not
I think
necessarily. It
You
all
need
depends.
power, dude.
for
You
business.
just do. If you don't power
Power
your house,
is
you
going to be
just-
more of a necessity. You have to power your fridge and whatnot. So
Yeah, but you have an option to do it. Was what I'm saying. Like when you go to solar, or not solar, but cellular. Cellular, they're really trying to disarm you. Like they're pushing people to take whatever they can with these homes, right? With the home phones and all this stuff. Like you have a landline. Everybody's doing a cellular, right? So now
Makes
it's become a position where you either go with them or you don't have an option, a cellular phone, right? Where its power is, there's still that option period. We're still in a position where it's like 50-50. Like, well, I could do it, but is it really a necessity, and how long and then what is the real return, where I don't know if solar is yet a necessity, right? That's all I'm saying. I think it's important. You have a valid
power
point.
is a necessity, though. If I put it in one situation, would you rather be in your home without air conditioning when it's 120 degrees out, or would you rather have no phone?
Yeah, but if you ask somebody, would you rather pay NV Energy versus solar, and they really don't see the benefit, then what's the difference there?
Everybody's preference is going to be different.
Right. And that's
So
what I'm saying.
You're going to spend the money to NV Energy whether you like it or not, because if you don't spend it to them,
Exactly.
they're going to turn your shit off.
Right. So exactly. And I agree. But NV Energy is still involved, right? So NV Energy is still getting a part of it.
Just a little $12.
Right. So they're still getting involved. So it's still running through them. So I
would
guess
say
what I'm trying to say
$12.
is this may start to transition, and I do see the value.
Yeah.
And I do see things. I just think it's over people's heads still. And I also don't see the fact that the transitional period of, well, it's $25,000 or $30,000 to get this.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are willing to say, I'm going to take an additional $25,000 and $30,000 and throw it at a house that I can't get back in return right away?
Well, let's do
They're
it.
doing it for a car.
Let's do it. I'll come back on. I'll give you the thumbs up or thumbs down. Honest opinion.
I would love to do that. But did you know that this is going to actually transition to all mandated? Like Lennar, for example, you guys know Lennar Home Builders, right? They have to build all their properties with solar. Like literally, the homeowner doesn't have a choice.
So
all new homes in California after 2019, it's mandated where they have to have solar.
That's why everybody's leaving California.
I do not think that's why.
Is that
Well,
30,000?
to your point, and I don't know if much know this because I was researching it.
Uh-huh.
We don't have the greatest grid here in Southern Nevada. And in fact, you know how the strip gets their power? Generators.
Somewhat, yeah.
Generators. Blowing up
Yeah,
coal.
Mandalay Bay just
You know how much
did their
power
own
those
thing.
things take? They're just burning oil
what
to
it
get that
is.
done. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's more as we get more advanced, you can see that push there. But no, let's put it to the test. See how it goes.
I would love to see it.
I'd be honored.
Yeah. I mean, so you're talking about energy, right? Let's kind of, I don't want to kind of go off topic, but you guys obviously see what's going on with Lake Mead, right?
Oh, yeah.
You see what's going on with the water. I know we had like an inch of rain. So that I think it filled it back up. No, I'm just-
No, yeah, okay.
I had a client of mine
I
that
can't
he
even
got-
see the white
his
rocks
boat got
anymore.
stuck.
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
my-
just in. This is a
No,
this is a desert.
It is. I mean, no, it is a desert, man. But I think, this is real problems. These are things that people really don't think about when they're buying a house and what they're getting into. So,
Yeah, but how does that affect you buying a house? How many times have Nikki, if somebody said, "Oh, I want to buy this house, but I'm worried about water drying up"?
Never.
I think it's more about, do I want to live here? That's the thing. Like, am I scared of there's going to be a drought where my family at one point down the road will not get water?
Yeah, but that's not a realistic.
But people think that.
That's not a realistic fear, and let me tell you. Is it a possibility?
Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, the climate changes a lot 400 years and deserts form and all this other stuff. Here's why it's not a realistic concern, because you're not safe from that whether you buy a house here or whether you buy one in Minnesota, because we're one economy and we're one like global. If you have a real water shortage in the Southwest, you're feeling that at any part of the world, no matter if you're here or not.
Right.
So it's not really like a realistic concern to say like, oh, I'm safe if I go on the east side of the continental divide where that's not an issue.
I don't think there's anywhere safe. I just think that if I'm going to say, well, I'm transitioning from California to another state, I think one of the things that I will kind of hesitate on is, well, do they have any issues there, right? Is the crime, I mean, there's crime everywhere, but is there things there that potentially could affect my family? And if it's not just me, like if it's just me, dude, I'm moving wherever I want. I don't care. I'm not even gonna think about it. But if it's gonna affect my family, I think that's a different story altogether. And I think that's where people start to say, well, what's going on with Vegas, right? What's going on with the water situation? What's going on with You know, the Uber drivers. What's going on with gas?
Shortage. You can make money on. Let me ask you another question. How many times have somebody buying a house, they ask you about crime rates and those sorts of things?
I have that.
A lot. And how do you respond with that?
I send them to the Metro website or Henderson,
And do they come back? Do they back off? They
No.
get concerned about it?
no.
Okay. I
There's
mean, we're a
crime
big
everywhere.
city. Like, it's not.
No, I mean it's not a crisis. We're not saying it's a crisis position. I'm just saying these are things to think about. You know, I think there's not. It's not just housing. It's not just.
No, I hear you.
You know what I mean? It's
I hear
outside
you.
elements that could affect us. It's not like we're just bulletproof and we're shielded from all the things and that could not. You know that water's always going to be here or everything's at our fingertips. Look, Vegas is great, man. It's got everything you need, everything you want, right? But there is some things to think about, and there is some scarcity out there with certain things. One of them being what's happening with Lake Mead, right? Lake Mead's drying up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
It's been drying up.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go back into let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the housing market. I want to give you the floor here,
Oh boy.
Nikki.
Here we go.
Nikki's first time. She's filling in and she's doing a good job here. So I'm going to kind of go over here and we're going to look at what's going on with the markets now. And Nikki, kind of give us a rundown of what's happening. I want you to give me the market update on how you would present to a client out there. Like if somebody called you, I want to see it.
But I actually don't even use this
You don't use this.
screen.
What is this?
No.
This is a screen
Info
for people
Sparks.
to see. This is great. You don't
No.
use this screen?
No, because what I do is from the title company, they send out.
Oh, you work on the title company situation. This is great though, isn't it? I mean,
It is.
kind of gives you an idea, right?
No, it does.
Okay.
Average, like you said,
So-
is 419.
Yeah, so explain to us like kind of what's going on with days on the market. Explain to me also too like maybe some key points if you have any that people don't really look up. Like is there certain things? I mean, we always talk about days on the market. We always talk about pending sales or closed sales. Is there anything else out there that you see that maybe would be important?
Well, days on market, average home sale. How many homes are on the market now?
Is that single family residence or is that all?
That's
What
all.
are we looking at here? Is this the
So
entire
here's-
valley?
Here, we'll narrow it down.
Okay, so
There you
let's
go.
narrow that down.
So,
So you're looking at 350 now. That's all sizes, but that just seems lower.
It is.
It is, right?
Yeah, that's not accurate.
That's
That's June too. We're already.
Oh, that's June,
Yeah.
right? So I would say go to 2,500 square feet or higher, just to see what that number is right there to
Yeah.
the right there. Yeah, and I think that's
It's
close.
565.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah.
That's
the
crazy.
entire valley? What are we looking at?
That's the entire. Well, that's the entire Valley single family residence homes
Average sale.
on average sale.
565.
Yeah. Now, also too, I think over there it says last 3 years. You want to put the last year, right? Is that what you? I mean, does it make a difference over there if you put like last year on that drop down right there? So if you click down that year, that it doesn't really
It
make
doesn't
a
make-
difference.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's plus 17.
Okay, so it's plus 17. So year over year, we talked about this. Housing prices up 14%, right? And they're saying that a lot of people's data out there are saying that it's not going to be another 14%. It's looking like 7%. So next year. So they're thinking it's going to ease off, but I can't see that happening
I
here in
don't see
Vegas.
it.
I just don't see it. Like
See
maybe
what?
Too many people moving here.
that's the problem. The demand is so high.
Yeah.
The
What about
supply
building
is low.
supplies?
Building supplies, they're passing it to the consumer. What they're doing is they're saying, okay, look, X
I mean, I
amount
didn't
of.
know. I'm just asking.
Oh, well, yeah, it's crazy because they're holding people. You know this.
Yep.
They're holding people. I wouldn't say hostage, but they're basically
home sales.
They are
Hostage.
new home sales. They're delaying the process. There's a lottery. I think that there's a strategic position behind this. They're doing it because obviously it's going to take time to build their home, and I think Esmeralda knows because she knows somebody really close that's in a builder position. But they're doing it because the cost of labor and the cost of goods, and they're trying to time it out and pass the cost to the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what they're really. That's the truth. People don't know that. They don't think like.
But it's not affecting demand, is what you're saying.
Well, the demand is still there. and
The
they're-
price is just going up.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
fast.
they're gonna-
they're
yeah.
creating up the momentum they're creating the momentum where it's putting people in a position where now you got to bid for a home.
Okay.
But technically, they can probably build it a lot.
It's
sooner.
driving the price up.
Yeah.
What about like building permits and stuff like that? Is the city on top of it, or are they sitting on doing what
there-
the city
there
always
is.
does?
It's just, well, the thing about buying land is not that there's land, but is it the land set up to build? Not
Right,
all
that's what
land
I'm
is-
asking. Like,
yeah.
how long does
Utilities.
it take if I buy,
It could take
50
3 to
acres?
6 months to a year.
Okay, so it's lagging, so prices can keep going.
Yeah, but it's lagging purposely. It's lagging for a reason. Like they're doing
yeah,
it
because
because
they want to make money.
right. It's
It's-
this. If they try to do this at a very quick pace, potentially the costs and everything, they don't have time to pass that to the consumer. And then the consumer is going to come in and say, I'm going to pay whatever it is for a premium. Why? What else are you going to buy? Right? You want a house? You want a new home? Okay, well, you're going to pay a premium. What's the lot premiums?
Right.
Out of this world, right?
In Summerlin, they're like 100,000 or more. It's nuts.
Yeah, I know.
You go back 7 years, you can buy a home for $100,000. Now you're paying it just to reserve a lot.
Yeah.
And if they build that A's stadium out there, that's going to
Crazy.
Increase it. Yep.
Let me ask both Esmeralda and Nick your question. Esmeralda, you do title insurance, right? Can you briefly explain to listen what that does? What the part of the transaction is?
Okay, run
The title insurance?
Yeah.
Well, the title insurance is really about they're insuring against any liens and any encumbrances against the property. Right?
I know it is. I'm trying to get listener might not know what it is,
okay.
right? So
Yeah.
it's defective title, right? If somebody had a lien on there or not, right?
Right.
What about what kind of options are there for I guess a defective home? You know what I'm
mean as
saying?
far as,
Like
like,
crack in the
what type
basement,
of-
crack in the foundation, something like that.
Well, that's a different type of insurance.
Yeah, you don't take care of that, right?
No, that's like a house. You're talking more like farmers insurance and
Right. So does that come with the property that you sell when you know, that type of insurance?
So you're going to get a homeowner's insurance, and then you're going to.
Yeah, and what's the reason I'm asking? What's the policy on homeowners insurance with that? Let's say you had a cracked foundation. What's the typical average policy limits?
Depends on which you get. If you get your basic, that's not going to cover it. If you get your extended, that'll cover it. But then they charge the $75 for them to come out, and depending on what company you use, but normally it's $75. And then depending on what your plan is, should be $1,000.
And the reason I'm asking, I've dealt with multiple clients.
Okay.
Buy a house, they don't have an insurance policy or not enough to tap into. They get in there, defective floors. I've dealt with one in Reno that has a crack in the basement on a flood zone. That dropped the value of the house like $300,000, right?
Wow.
And I guess what I'm saying is, if we have this big rush to buy, right? I'm trying to add some legal perspective here, right? I'm like, you might want to take care of your ends as far as you rush, you buy, and you don't realize how much internal damage can destroy your asset, and you're left with the bill, as far
That's
as.
why you always get a home inspection prior
Right.
to
Right. No,
everything.
I'm talking about people that missed home inspections.
Oh.
Inspector comes in, they didn't see it, and then you got a big mess.
Okay.
And you have a policy that's limited, not taking care of nearly enough damage that what this thing's done. So do you advise any of your clients on that? Like when you're talking about that? Because that's a real concern that I see.
well, my
And
mom's
then-
going through that. So what would you advise?
What's your advice? Take your time. I mean, take your time if you
well,
can.
my mom.
Inspect.
So my mom had a plumbing issue in the home, and so she had to take care of it out of pocket. And there was also, it was plumbing damage in the bathroom, and it was also.
It's got to be catastrophic, like a big problem though. Because let's be honest, like, okay, so you have an insurance company, and you have
It's
an
like
issue. Let's say your
20
house
grand, dude.
floods, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna probably fight you a little bit for that and see, well, why did this happen? Let's get the scoop on it, right? They're not gonna just say, I'm gonna give you money, and then if they do have to pay it out, they're probably gonna drop you, right? I mean, they probably will, because I think a lot of insurance companies don't really want clients like that. So, like, I guess what I'm saying is, when you have issues like that, I think it's a case by case, but I also think it's how big the problem is and what's involved for them to pay it
Right.
out.
And here's my experience, right? Insurance companies say you're good in hands or not. They want to deny coverage as much as possible. Don't listen to them say otherwise. I'm going to deny coverage as much as possible. So if you have a major problem with with your house after you buy it, they're going to look for reasons to deny coverage, and perhaps the policy limits aren't enough. Don't just assume that they're going to take care of everything, right? Now, in that scenario, you can sue the seller, because odds are they probably knew of it or
Isn't
should have
there a
known.
time period though? How long you can sue them?
6 years.
6 years, right? So if you, go ahead.
Right. No, but here's the problem. You got 6 years.
Right.
How many sellers do you know that have $400,000 sitting in their account to compensate you?
Well, after they sell their house in today's market,
Well, maybe
probably not
few.
many.
yeah, they spend it, right, like we talked about.
Right.
Then you got to hire somebody like me, and attorney
take
costs
half.
for that type of case is anywhere between $20,000 to $80,000
Wow.
Yeah.
because it's a ton of work.
Yeah.
Because they're going to try to deny, they're going to fight you. It's a big legal battle, and you might end up with an attorney bill, and you might end up with like pennies compensation. You might get a judgment, But what that means nothing unless you can
So
collect.
you're fighting for the seller of that house at that time or the buyer?
Usually it's been buyers that ran into these problems, or somebody that bought, now they're trying to sell, right? And then they do another inspection and there's a problem with their house, and they're like, yeah, guess what? Your house is worth like $100,000 because of the amount of work that would take.
So
you got like a foundation problem that is major repair, right? And these things happen, especially in this dry climate.
So what client hires you? Is it the one that bought the home from the person that gave you the bad property or the foundation? Like,
I've
had
had multiple. Usually it's the one that bought, but I've had people who have sold and they didn't know, and then they get sued, right? And they've got to defend that, and the insurance company's backing out because of whatnot. And then there's different things I can do. I usually sue the insurance company too, say no, you didn't have a basis to deny that, but they still fight, right? And when they come in, they don't. It adds up fast.
Do they have like a full-on staff for you know how like car insurance has insurance? Do they have home insurance that they go in and like fight that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And don't let them tell you otherwise. They get paid for keeping claims down.
They do.
They're a business. They keep claims down.
They're probably going to settle too. Like if it's a big amount, they'll probably want to settle sooner than.
Yeah, and the truth is, these insurance policies aren't that much. Now, if you bought a really good policy, that changes because now they want to say, "Hey, you got the premium service. We're going to take care of you."
Right.
Right. So I would just say, in this kind of buying frenzy, pay attention to that type of stuff. You go into escrow, you think everything's taken care of, especially if you're buying an older home. Step back.
What's considered old? What year?
What's that?
What would be considered old?
Say anything over 10 years, honestly.
Yeah.
In this climate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at the big picture though, and we've covered a lot.
Oh, sorry.
Today. No, we covered a lot today. So you guys, we're going to finish the show because we keep running a little bit long, and I want to get everybody a platform. First off, I want to say, Brett, thank you for coming on. And I do think...
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I do think there's value in solar. I'm just trying to get and pick your brain of what people are having objections to, right? I mean, it's like, why is it important to know about it? And maybe you don't make the decision to get solar. Maybe you do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's not for you. But, I mean, leaving the show, like, you have anything to say to anybody out there, maybe how to get in contact with you if somebody wants to get solar?
Yeah. I mean, you could contact me directly. My number is 702-493-0103.
Throwing the digits out there like that.
They'll be able to pause and watch it again. I'm just kidding.
I was looking for a website. He's like,
right
just
no
text
problem.
me.
It's 702 493
493
0103.
0103.
Yeah.
Are you single?
Oh my goodness.
I thought you were married, man.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm talking about, ladies listening to the show.
That's funny.
Okay.
No, I'm married. I just got married.
Okay,
But
he's taking.
guys, long story. My bad.
That's all right.
So, yeah, I mean, if you haven't looked into solar, I highly advise you to, versus just thinking that it's going to cost you a whole bunch of money out of your pocket. So, you could, once again, contact me, 702-493-0103.
Yeah.
And then my website, my personal website, is actually going to be Brett with 2 T's.
Brett with 2 T's.
Yes.
Oh, that's your card. Brett with 2 T's.
Brett with 2 T's, thesolarbroker.com.
Man, I like that.
You can click it, fill in your information.
That should be your slogan. Brett the Solar Man with 2 T's.
That's a good suggestion.
It's a good suggestion. I appreciate you coming
thanks
on,
for
Brett.
having us.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Appreciate
And Nikki, we're going to finalize it, but I know you're going to do the rundown. You have anything to say left to the clients? I want to answer a couple questions before we leave. Anything else that's going on in the housing market that you can kind of give insight to on what's going on? Some of the challenges, Anything? No?
Just get a good realtor.
Just get a good realtor. All right, guys, let's answer this question here. A couple of them. So we got one, and you can, while you're here, it says, I've heard that NV Energy is paying unfair rates for net metering, especially when compared to a few years ago. An expert told me that just not that great of a deal in Nevada.
Can you repeat that again, please?
Yeah. So NV Energy is paying unfair rates for net metering, especially when compared to a few years ago. An expert told me that it's just not that great of a deal in Nevada. Now, maybe that's...
Got it.
What do you think?
I know exactly what they're talking about. It's when they're selling the extra electricity back through the grid. They're going to give you about 83% towards the dollar. So
Right.
call it 83 cents to the dollar, which is actually a really good deal.
Right.
in comparison to a lot of states. So there's still a ton of value out there. And as long as you get enrolled, you're grandfathered into that forever.
Okay.
So take advantage while you can.
Here's another one. Will wall batteries that store energy from solar panels completely eliminate NV energy?
What we will set up for you, my friend, you can contact me, is going to be a site survey. We're going to take a look at your main electrical panel and make sure that your loads and breakers and everything can be backed up by that. So it's really a one-off scenario.
Gotcha. All right, that's it. I'm going to answer this. Rates last year, we're right around at this point, right around 2.5 to 2.625%. I'm just answering this because running at altitude. I want to give a shout out to him. I want to give a shout out to Cece. Matt Shields on here. He's on the show all the time. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. Much love. And then also, if you guys haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. We need likes. We need people to support the channel. We need people to comment on any comments that they have. I will have Brett with 2 T's, his comments, and all his information will be in the comment section. Guys, I thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next stream. You guys have a good week. Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.